Good afternoon, and welcome to the latest installment of I Was a Teenage Daydreamer, where I discuss mostly music, some literature, some film, and some random things that I enjoy, and hopefully you do as well. Today is a ranking discussion video where obviously I rank my favorite to least favorite albums, only in the opposite order of a band's entire catalog. And today it is The Doors, the seminal late 60s, early 70s band who were, of course, Ray Manzarek on keyboards and occasional vocals, Robbie Krieger on guitar, John Densmore on drums, and the infamous late, great Jimbo on vocals. So in this instance, I'm only going to discuss, of course, studio albums and the albums with Jim Morrison on lead vocals. I have heard Full Circle and other voices, and they're fine. But even the Doors themselves ignored those for decades, and they're just not going to be part of what this one is. I don't own a copy and probably never will. Anyway, so the Doors are one of my all-time favorite bands, definitely my favorite bands of the 60s, number one, as far as that goes. And I've been listening to them ever since I was a little kid. Heard their hits on the radio all the time. They are one of the few bands that every album has at least one song that when I was a kid, classic rock radio played those songs on the radio. MTV played the videos, the ones that they had in their little classic rock segment, things like that. So a band that I've basically grown up with. So anyway, let's just dive into it with number 6 on my list. And again, caveat all of this by saying these are my opinions. If yours are different, that's great. We hear everything differently. And if you can tell me why you love one of the ones that I don't, then you might turn me into a believer. And I also say that by saying there's not a bad Doors album. I don't dislike any of them. And to me, they're all great. Some are just more great. So let's dive in. First one for me is The Soft Parade from 1969. And the big song on this one is, of course, Touch Me. That awesome video, live video with the full band behind them and stuff like that. I used to love watching that video. That might be from the Ed Sullivan Show. I'm honestly not 100% sure. But remember seeing that as a kid. And I'll be honest, for years and years and years, I did not get this album. I understand that they are trying to move into something a little bit different from the psychedelic bluesy material they had been putting out before. You know, this was their 4th album, had a string of hits, trying to change things up a little bit. And their producer, Paul A. Rothchild, suggested moving in this direction. And some people see it as a huge misstep, and some people see it as something brilliant. I'm kind of on the fence with that. When I was younger, I didn't care for this album. I thought the production was stiff and stifled. As I've gotten older, I've listened to it a lot more, and I somewhat get it, but still don't entirely. Wild Child is on here, Runnin' Blues on here, Wishful Sinful, and of course the sweet Soft Parade. Really great stuff, but it doesn't always 100% resonate with me the way other albums do. For me, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not a bad showing, not a bad album, just not always what I'm looking for when it comes to the Doors. But of course, Touch Me, fantastic, beautiful song. So, next in the list is their last album, LA Woman, an album that I used to just flat out hate. I can't really tell you why. I think it might be because Bruce Botnick is producing this one instead of Paul A. Rothchild, and it's got a really different feel, and it's really raw, and it's really gritty, and that's what I really like about it now. But at the time, I just didn't care for it. Of course, the big songs on here, Love Her Madly, and the title track, LA Woman, 2 staples of classic rock, but a lot of other great stuff on here as well. The Changeling, Cars Hiss By My Window, Hyacinth House, beautiful song. And then, of course, Riders on the Storm. Just an epic, the Doors often close their albums with nice, long, drawn out epics. And Riders on the Storm might be the best one. Completely different than the Soft Parade and the ones from earlier albums. But, for gritty, bare bones rock and roll, you cannot get much better than this, but you can get a little better than this. So this is whereas 20 years ago, I would have said 2 out of 5 stars. I've grown up. I've seen the light. 4 out of 5 stars. Would have been interesting to know where they went from this if Jim had lived. And this might have been it because he was kind of done with it anyway. So I don't know. Anyway, next. So the next 3 could shift at any time. The bottom 2 are at this point pretty solid where they are. I struggled with these next 3. So this one, the debut, used to be my favorite album for years and years and years by the Doors. And I knocked it down to 4th place, I think mainly from overplay. Of course, it's got Light My Fire, which, love it, hate it, sick of it, I get it. Break On Through, classic song. And The Crystal Ship, all of these are great songs, classic rock radio songs. I understand that they can be overplayed. But man, what a bunch of other great songs. There's Soul Kitchen, 20th Century Fox, Alabama Song, a cover of Kurt Weill. Backdoor Man, Willie Dixon cover, fantastic. I Looked at You, End of the Night, Take It As It Comes. Those 3 are just amazing. I want to say the Ramones covered Take It As It Comes and did a pretty good job with it. And then The End, a song that terrified me as a kid. I remember having a clock radio beside my bed, and I would turn it on if I couldn't sleep. And I had it set to WPFM, the great 108, and I heard The Killer Awoke Before Dawn, and I said, nope, I can't do that. Scared me to death. But wow, what an amazing work that is. This whole album, fantastic. And we're now in 5 out of 5 star territory. So again, a little overplayed for me at times. Still a fantastic album. Don't get all mad. I still love it. Next, we have their second album, and also their second in 1967, and again, produced by Paul A. Rothchild, as their first 5 albums were. Strange Days, big songs on here. The title track, Strange Days, Love Me 2 Times. Still can see that video with the stop motion of Jim on stage and those infamous red leather trousers. I think they were. I might be misremembering that. And then People Are Strange. What amazing song. This one delves further into psychedelic sound than even the debut. The debut had a lot of psychedelic feel, but also a lot of more bluesy. The blues are still here, but again, a lot of psychedelia here. Moonlight Drive, People Are Strange, My Eyes Have Seen You, Your Lost Little Girl. Oh, great stuff. And then Horse Latitude, some of Jim's poetry. It is visceral. Man, what a fantastic piece that does not wear out its welcome. I think it's just the right length. Went too much longer. It might have gotten a little tedious, but. And then When the Music's Over, another excellent opus to just epically end things. Maybe even a touch better than The End. In fact, I'm going to say definitely a touch better than The End. So yeah, that's my third, fifth, fourth, whatever pick this is. Strange Days, which then leads us to the album that I think is very akin to this one, and the reason it won is because it's got my favorite Doors song, Love Street, on it. And of course, that is Waiting for the Sun. The big hits, Hello, I Love You, Unknown Soldier, 5 to 1, which is, borderline terrifying with its rebellious feel. But again, a lot of really, really great deeper cuts. Again, Love Street, Summer's Almost Gone, Wintertime Love, just psychedelic bliss in a lot of ways. Not as bluesy as the first two or as they would start heading again, um, but just a really great, easy collection of songs that are both engaging, but also if you just want something in the background or if you want something to drive to, uh, it's great stuff. Maybe not as great as LA Woman, which is an excellent driving song. But again, I remember buying this CD in Atlanta at some sort of electronics shop. Anyway, that was years and years and years ago. So that's and so that means my number one is Morrison Hotel. So after the soft parade, they stripped back some of the more theatrical feel and just got back down to dirty rock and roll. A little bit of psychedelia as well. Waiting for the Sun, which I am assuming, I've never actually confirmed this is probably from Waiting in the Sun. It's got a very psychedelic feel. So that was a big hit, or again, at least a radio staple. Roadhouse Blues, which was actually a B-side to You Make Me Real, but it was played on the radio where I grew up all the time. And then, the rest is just a bunch of just really, really great deep cuts. Peace Frog, Blue Sunday, Blissful, Wonderful, Ship of Fools, whimsical and yet telling and apocryphal in a lot of ways. Land Ho, The Spy, another just not dreamy, but well, I can't think of the word for it right now, but Queen of the Highway. Both of those are just they're taking blues to another level. They're leaving a lot of the psychedelic behind, and blues and R&B, they're just taking it to another level, and they're showing all the things that can be done with that genre. And then the closer, Maggie McGill, almost as menacing as 5 to 1, if not more so. The Gentleman's Son of a Rock and Roll Star. Man, just good stuff. This has been my favorite album for at least the past 2 decades from The Doors, and would be a great place to start for anyone interested in what they're about or the debut album. So that's my ranking. I'm going to give a shout out to the Double Disc in Concert, which brings together Live at the Hollywood Bowl, Alive She Cried, and one other one that it slips my mind right now. And it's good stuff. Honestly, haven't listened to it a lot, but it's got some great moments on here. And it does have the full performance of Celebration of the Lizard. So it's good for that. And, if you're interested in checking out more, this double disc best of, if you're a casual fan, is literally all you need if you want to see what they're about and some of their best moments. Not their very best, but some of their best moments. This double disc is a good place to start. So that is my spiel on the Doors. If you've stuck around this long, I appreciate that. Hit like and subscribe if you're so inclined. But more importantly, keep doing what you love. Thank you.